Hi, this is Matt Donegan of Business Spotlight, and I'm with Shamim. Shamim, can you tell me who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please?
Hi, Matt. Matt, thank you. I am Shamim Ibrahim, and I am the owner and the managing director of Ansham White Solicitors. And I have been doing this for 20 plus years. I qualified as a solicitor in 2001 and I worked for other companies, finally set up on my own in 2011.
Okay, and what made you start the business?
Various elements actually. The sort of working for myself and being independent and being able to choose my clients was the key factors. So for example, when you're working for other firms, you are given particular cases and clientele, and often at times you don't necessarily want to represent certain companies or certain individuals for various reasons. Could be ethical, could be personal, could be other factors. But for me, having the independence of being able to set my own goals, having my own clientele, and being able to choose the hours that I work was was really important. So that was the main reason.
Oh, fantastic. So with have you developed the business? Have you been able to cherry pick your clients as you've gone through?
To a large extent, yes. And in other elements, so for example, when I set up my firm, it is primarily a private firm. We don't do legal aid work. So oftentimes I get inquiries whereby people are in need of legal aid. So then we signpost them to firms where they can potentially obtain legal aid. That doesn't mean that we turn every client who doesn't qualify for legal aid but is not able to afford their fees. We try to reduce their fees if we can. And on other occasions, we have a quota system whereby we do pro bono work where clients really are in need of help and they cannot obtain legal aid or they prefer to stay with us. So there are various ways I'm able to do this, and I will not be able to do this if I was working for other people. So because it's my own firm, my own business, and I work with a fantastic team. We have another director who shares my ethical views and my approach to work, and we have another team who are on a similar sort of pathway.
Fantastic. There are often pressures with a business to win as many customers as you can get, and that's often not a good strategy. What makes your business stand out in your sector? What's your USP? What are you really special at?
I think our USP is, if we can say one thing, it would be that we work on the basis of trying to gear clients towards settling rather than taking, where possible, taking their cases all the way to the courts. In particular, in family law, I think our approach to family law is different as opposed to any other civil litigation, primarily because there are young children involved. People have assets, but also they have long history of personal relationship, and it goes to people's, the heart of the matter, as it were. So having those considerations in mind and the interests of the children in mind, we try to encourage parties to settle, as opposed to creating more conflict or creating a lot more contention. So that's our USP. We try to encourage settlement. We try to encourage people to move forward, and where possible, try to have a mediation in place.
Okay. So before our conversation in this interview now, you mentioned that you had a very interesting history with regards to some of the cases that you've done before. How do you bring that into the practice as it stands at the moment?
So I've worked with various areas of law, including human rights applications, asylum, judicial review, family, probate. So all of these areas are very much, in a way, relating to human personal relationships and human matters. So that it helps me to understand the common human interactions, as well as needs and emotions that go through some of the issues that we face as people. So, for example, take children's matters. Often at times, when two parties are very much going through a very conflicted divorce, then it becomes, not in all cases, but in some cases becomes a question of, well, I'm not going to allow my children to be seen by the other party. And I correct this notion that the courts in children's proceedings are there to look at the interests of the children, and they're there to protect the interests of the children, and therefore we need to slightly look at this approach in a different manner, rather than being in so much conflict. Unless there are clear safeguarding issues involved, then the parties need to work together for the interests of the children. Both parents need to come to some sort of agreement for the arrangement early on, rather than drag this into the courts.
So you're really making the personal journey of the individuals, you're really taking that into account in the way that you're applying the law, which is admirable. With regards to your personal journey, or the business journey, I should say, what's it been like since you started? Did you grow quickly? Has it been a slow build? Describe your journey to me.
I've had few bruises and bumps on the way to my journey. But as I said earlier, there have been learning curves, and there's been lots of it caused personal growth for myself as well as for the business. So business shrunk at some of my choices, and then business expanded at having to recalibrate and do things. So where we are now, we are at a very good place where we are growing, and we want to grow. We want to expand to different areas north of England. We're trying to set up a branch in Beaconsfield. We have a branch in central London. And we are at that stage where I'd like to take our firm at a national level.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Grow our team. Yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic. You must be very proud of your achievements today.
I am very proud. I'm proud of our team. I think it's not just myself, it's the entire team who's done, doing the work. I am the front face, as it were, but they're doing lots of the work, interacting with clients and providing an excellent service.
So the future's looking pretty bright for you guys, which is fantastic. You're looking to move out across the UK. What do you think your biggest business challenges are going to be? We often look at the kind of three key areas of any challenge for most businesses, which are time, the amount of time you've got to spend in the business, the team, growing and developing the team, training, retaining your great talent, and then of course money, generating income in the business, cash flow. Where are the challenges that you see at the moment inside the business?
Yeah, I think some of the things that you mentioned are part of our challenges, developing very good teams to be placed in each branch, who can model what we do in our central office, which is in Harrow. That's one of the challenges, and of course the recruitment selection is also part of the very challenging aspect of our growth. But fundamentally, it's going to be marketing. We have a 3-stage plan for marketing. One is just the general social media marketing, and the other one, which is I'm working very closely with our marketing manager at the moment, is very much networking and face-to-face marketing, just going out there in that particular area and really making ourselves visible.
Yeah.
So that's the other strategy. But the third one, obviously very important part, is going to be when people come to us, when clients to come to us, that they leave with a very good impression and they leave us great referral reviews. it's not a question of just getting clients, but the key part is going to be really serve those clients and their needs very well. So not just them, but their future generations and their children will say, well, Ansham White Solicitors provided a great service for us. We're going to go to them, naturally going to select them.
And are you looking to expand the areas of law that you practice?
At this stage, we practice litigation, family, probate, wills and trusts, and commercial immigration. But in the future, yes, we have had a few inquiries from consultants who would like to join us, and they practice in other areas. So we are looking to expand. Yes.
That's a great sign if you're looking to do that, and people are coming to you to work with you. That's fantastic. So would you say that you're on target with your growth goals across the next 12 to 24 months?
I would say we could certainly improve on those. When we first set up the branch, I anticipated for us to be set up sooner than where we are now. So yes, most certainly we could improve on those.
Right. Okay. So what would you say your biggest lesson over the last few years have been from developing the business, from pretty much, well, starting it from probably from your home, I would imagine, as a lot of small business owners do, and they develop into the size of business that you're developing now. What's been your biggest challenges?
I think resources, funding was one of the challenges, and the other one was having a really great visionary people around you, and that's really the most important part. I think if one person of the team wants to go in one direction and the other person wants to go in the other, then you are going to have blockages. But once we have a united vision of where we want to go, it's a much easier road to success. And right now we are at that place where we are united in our vision where we want to go.
Brilliant. That's really important. It's that having a defined vision for the future of the business and what your mission is as a company are often the greatest catalyst for growth there is in a business. Having a team aligned is exactly what you need to do. So that's brilliant. So what have you got any plans that you'd like to share with us about either your business growth or what your company is now going to do?
Yeah, so in the next 2 years, my plan is to take Ansham White, as I said, to at a national level. We'd like to ideally have branches in most of the England and Wales cities. So that's a vision. What I'm trying to do is create a model which it can be then replicated in different cities. It's not like a franchise, but similarly based on that franchise model. So then once that happens, we will place the right people in each branch who can manage and run the branch the way we run, with our ethical values, with our vision. What we do in Harrow and other branches are going to be modeling that.
Right. Okay. That's fascinating. And systems and processes inside businesses, no matter what size they are, again, another major catalyst for growth. So one of my favorite questions is, what would you do? What piece of information, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self from now looking back? What would you say to yourself?
Choose a different career. No, I wouldn't do anything differently. I think I'm really happy with many of my choices, and I cannot say I didn't make mistakes, many mistakes at both personal level, professional level, career level. I've made mistakes, but I've learned so much. I've grown as a result of those mistakes, and I'm still growing. I haven't achieved everything I want to achieve. So it's all part of learning curves. I think the key thing, advice to my 18-year-old would be never to despair. Carry on with what you do, do your best. I cannot change other people, but I can certainly change my responses, and I can certainly do things differently the next time.
Yeah. Okay. That's great advice. Slightly, there's some challenges in every industry.
Yeah.
And technology can drive some of that, circumstance can drive that, or culture can drive that. What do you find are the big challenges in your industry, in the legal industry at the moment, that you're aware of, that you can see on the horizon, that you think are going to be a big challenge for you?
I think one of the biggest challenges is retaining that share of the market, if you like. So the bigger firms who are constantly merging with or taking over the smaller firms, I have then much bigger sort of budgets to market themselves out there. They've a bigger share of the market of clientele. So smaller firms such as ours, we struggle slightly unless, and then we have smaller budgets to spend on the marketing and so forth. So that's one struggle. So at some point, I think we would need to think about how we're going to approach this. That's one challenge. But so far we've been able to overcome this, primarily because we have a clientele who loves the individual approach that we take, one-to-one approach, and this very personalized approach. So provided we carry on having those clients who prefer going to very smaller, very personal service type of firm like us at this stage, that's what we are. So yeah, and then we will overcome those challenges. But for our industry at large, I think smaller firms are going to struggle with precisely that.
Okay. That's very interesting. It's interesting to see how the bigger firms are still trying to take over the smaller firms in
Yeah.
your industry. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess we'll always see that. I think there are, when I look on the horizon, when I speak to other people in the legal sector, some of them say they're afraid of AI, or they're cautious about AI. I think what you've just described, bringing humanity into it, bringing the personal touch, is not something a computer can do.
Yeah.
Whilst there are some processes that AI can attack, what it can't do is that it can't give the personal service and the understanding of the human condition that you guys do. So that's great. You've got a great way to tackle that. So listen, thanks so much for your time. Look, we wish you continued success in your business. Sounds like it's really exciting. You're going to have a national network. I can see that. I can definitely see that coming on the horizon. I can see the expansion. I can see your control in doing it as well, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for your time. Good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you.